Earthly ambition is just so 20th century, in case you haven't noticed. A new space race is well and truly underway, whether it's taking NASA astronauts to the International Space Station or giving intrepid, not to mention wealthy tourists a truly out-of-this-world experience. Growing numbers of companies are indeed looking to the heavens. Elon Musk has SpaceX, Paul Allen has Strato launch systems, and of course there's Sir Richard Branson with Virgin Galactic, all of them betting on the potential for commercial travel in space. Right, indeed, one small step for man and a giant leap for Sir Richard, as Virgin Galactic announcing a new partnership. Let's get more from the man himself. Joining us exclusively from the Rose Space Center and Planetarium in New York is the Virgin founder himself, Richard Branson. Sir Richard, great to see you again. Let's start off with your new partner, Grey Goose. What's the synergy?
Well, every big venture like this needs sponsors. Grey Goose has stepped forward and helped us fund the space program. They'll make sure that we have great parties when we come back from space, and they're an adventurous and enjoyable drink to drink. So we very much welcome them on board.
Will it be the first vodka into space?
I think it might well be the first vodka into space. Whether we'll let our astronauts drink it is another matter, but I'll certainly, I think, be happy to have a drink when I go up there.
OK, that of course begs the question, when is Virgin Galactic actually going to take off? I mean, I think in February you were saying it was going to be sometime this year. Where are you with that?
I'm still confident that we'll go to space before the end of this year, and obviously that's not very long to go. What held us up was the rockets. It took us a lot longer to build rockets that we felt completely comfortable with. We now have tested those rockets. They've passed all the tests, and over the next few months, we'll be doing a lot of test flights in the air, and I think that by the end of this year, we will have gone to space, and then the whole operation will then be moved to New Mexico, where the spaceport is, and then myself and my son should go up, in the early spring of next year.
Well, I think about 700 odd people have paid deposits for this. Are you having any pushback from them?
Almost none whatsoever. We're now up to nearly 800 people, and I think everyone's been very patient. I think they realise that it is rocket science, that they want to make sure that we don't hurry them up there. They want to come back, and that's exactly what the team are doing, and they've done a fantastic job. I'm confident that we are as good as they're now, and obviously we've got some more test flights to go, but I think you'll start seeing Virgin going into space by the end of this year, and then starting the whole space program in the spring of next year.
For someone who actually really propounds green environmental talk, etc., and trying to remove pollution, etc., how are you trying to make this more carbon neutral, this whole space program?
We've dramatically made it almost completely carbon neutral. We can actually put people into space for less than a return ticket from London to LA and back in economy class. So, it's a dramatic reduction in cost. And one day we'll start transporting people around the world via space for almost no carbon output whatsoever. So, so it is a big breakthrough as far as carbon output's concerned, and it's also, there's a lot of very exciting things ahead, I think, for Virgin Galactic.
Sir Richard, I remember interviewing you when we were at Heathrow Airport, and you had that 747 flying with one engine, fueled by biofuel to Amsterdam. It was the first such flight to take place. How have things gone in terms of using biofuels in normal commercial aviation? Because it seems to be continually delayed.
It has been longer than we would have liked. There are companies that are doing very well in developing alternative fuels for planes. There's Lanzatech in New Zealand that have come up with a way of turning the waste product from steel plants and aluminium plants into jet aviation fuel. And they're very, very promising. And Virgin Atlantic have, first right on that fuel when they finally got enough to sell to us. There's algae-based fuels, there's isobutanol-based fuels, but it is taking a lot longer. But I'm hopeful that one day people will travel on planes that are an awful lot more energy efficient than today. In the meantime, the aircraft manufacturers are doing quite well. So the 787 has largely been built by carbon fibre, and that saves enormous amounts of fuel. And Virgin Atlantic are getting 20 787s over the next 3 or 4 years.
Very quickly, Sir Richard, I wanted to congratulate you on being voted by your peers the most admired businessman in Britain in the last 50 years. How did you manage to get that accolade when you're somebody who has listed on the stock market but then has delisted? And is that because you just don't trust the market? What's the deal?
We listed in 1986. 1987 there was a crash. Our share price halved. We had a lot of friends who had shares in Virgin. We believed in Virgin, so we said we'd give everybody their money back. And we bowed out gracefully with, I think, with our reputation intact. Our top companies have stayed private, but we do float subsidiary companies, and we will continue to float subsidiary companies. But we'll always keep, I think, our top company as a private company. So we can do things like space travel, which, long-term investments where the stock market might be very, very wary if that was, say, part of our financial service company or our mobile phone company. It's best to keep some of these things separate.
Sir Richard Branson, thanks very much indeed for that. The founder there of Virgin Group joining us there from New York.